So today we are, so in the last class up to that, we have learned about some methods related to different objects. And it is not like only we have those methods related to the object, we have lots of methods. But what are the methods which are frequently used and what are methods which are not frequently used? Based on that, notebook has been made. And today again we are going to see some built-in functions. So the difference between function and the methods are, methods are associated with any object, and we have to use dot operator to execute that particular method. But in case of functions, we doesn't have to do that, right? And these functions, we just have to give the parameter, and we should know that what is the different parameter related to any of the built-in functions, and we'll use those functions without any dot operator. So that is the difference between function and method in Python. Methods are associated with the object, but functions are not. For the methods, if we are calling the methods, we have to use the object dot operator and the function name and the parameter, whatever parameter method is required. But in the function, we doesn't have to do that. The function here, we are talking about built-in function. These built-in function is not at all associated with any object, and we doesn't have to use any dot operator for that. So let's go and see some of the built-in functions in Python. Okay, so the first built-in function that we will see today is slice function. So there is a slice function. This is a taken as a constructor, create a slice object representing the set of indices specified by the range, start, stop, and step. So in the slice, if we want to give the argument, we have to give these three argument into that function parameters. So start, stop, and step. Start means from where we are starting. So it will work in all those objects with support indexing. So whatever the object that we have seen, like string, list, right? Dictionary, then we have set and the tuple. So all those objects which support the index, we can use this particular function on that. We have these syntax as well as the syntax with having only one parameter, stop. So if we are giving only one parameter, so default parameter it will take. Like start, it will be starting from 0. Stop we give, and step will be 1. So one step at a time it will be iterating. Slice, so we'll see about different parameters. So we have 3 parameters in the slice, which is written here. What are those? Start, stop, and step. So in the slice parameter, we'll learn about those. So first is the start, starting string, starting integer where the slice of the object start. So any of the object that will, in which we use the slice function, we have to see that it should be indexed, means we can do the indexing on that, and that way we can do the slicing. Stop is an integer until which the slice take place. The slice stop at the index stops -1. So we know that the stop, whatever the stop parameter we have seen for the range function also, it is going to n-1. So if we'll give n as a stop value, so it will go up to n-1. In the same way, if we'll give n as a stop value for the slice, it will go n-1. Up to that, it will be slicing. Step, integer value which determine the increment between each index for slice if a single parameter is passed. start and steps are set to none. So if we have only one parameter that is passed, so start and stop are set to none. Otherwise, this step is some sort of integers, which will tell us that how much increment is required for the iteration. So we have three parameters in the slice. What is the functionality of the slice? So slice is going to slice the object. So if we have a string object, let's say, and it is written IT Bhubaneswar. So if we want only IT, it can slice up to IT. So we have to give the parameter accordingly on the slice, that it will start from the 0, it will go up to IT, means it will go up to index 4. So if we'll say that slice 4, so it will print us 0th index, which is I, 1 index, which is I, 2 index, which is I, and the third index, which is T. And because we have given 4, so it will go up to 3. So we'll get IT for our string object if we'll use slice on that. And in the slice, if we'll give 4. The same thing we can do, we can give slice 0, 4, 1, right? So it will start with 0, it will go up to 3, and it will iterate one step at a time. So that also will give you IT from the string IT Bhubaneswar. So slice will do like that. Let's see some of the example related to the slice built-in functions. So let's see how we'll create a slice object for slicing. Here we haven't taken any object. We just try to understand that how this slice function is going to work. So if we'll write print 3, so what is the meaning of that? The meaning is the start is null, the stop is 3, and the steps are null. So as we know that if we'll give only one parameter, start and step will be none. So it will take the default value. Here for the default value is 0. Here for the default value is 1. So it will take the default value for that. Now, if you want to give the values, so it will be a start. So it will start from the index 1. It will go up to 4 because this is 5, stop 1. And it will iterate 2. So it will not go from in a linear basis. It will go up to it will print 1 and then leave 2, go to 3, then leave 4. And because it will go up to 4, so it will just print 1 and what is in the index 3. So what is in the index 1 and what is in the index 3, it will just make a slice of it. So these slice functions is going to return something, right? So what it is going to return? It is going to return some sub strings. Let's see this example. Get substring from the given string using slice object. So how we can do that? How we can get the substring from the sys slice object? Let's see, we have a string Python 1. So Python 1 is my string. Now what we want is we want to print only with the index 0, 1 and 2. Means it will going to print pyt. So if it is going to print pyt, so for that what we can write is slice 3. What is the meaning of slice 3? This is same as if we are writing slice 0, 3 and 1. So it is same as that, right? Starting with 0 position, go up to index 2 and it will make a step 1. So if we do not want to write this, this is going to work for that. So what is the meaning of that slice? It will start from 0, means it will take the substring from the string, which is P, Y and T. So these three it is going to take. So if you want to print this S object, which is a string again, or substring, which is generated by the slice, so it is going to print this pyt. So pyt is your output with this particular slice function. Now here it is printing like this. Okay. Now what is actually it is returning. So what it is returning here? So it is returning the index of the values. So what are the index that it is giving? It is giving the index 0, 1 and 2. That we are printing actually. Okay, let's see the type of it. So the type of this object is not a string. The type of this object is a slice. So are you getting it? So this function will give us the index of the sliced substring. And to print that, we have to use this. Means the actual string and that index that has been generated by this slice. So the type of the S object is a slice. So this is going to print pyt, and this is going to print starting with 1, right? So it will go 1, which is this y, and go up to 4, means 3. So p t, this is 0, 1, 2, and go up to 3, that is y. So it is considering these 3. Now the step is 2, so it will just going to print y and h. So that's why we are getting the output y and h for that. So this slice is clear to all of you, I think. Let's see some more slicing. So we know that what is -1 indexing, and right. So it will uh, start from the end, right? So if you are doing -1, it will start from the end. It will go up to fourth index, means it will go to -1, -2, and -3, right? Up to that. It will not go to this particular. So it will go up to this. So these highlighted version, it will go to iterate, and it is iterating one step at a time. So it will print N, O, and H. So is going to print N, O, and H, right? Now let's say if we want to print this value. So this is actually the slice object. It is not going to have anything. Okay, wait a minute. I think there should be some values here. Yes. So this particular slice is the object. So that is the object that we are printing. Okay. So I think it is clear to all of you. So it is working as a iteration, and starting with this symbol, stopping with this, and this is the step how in which it is iterating. Let's see how it is working with the list and the tuple. So we have seen one example using the string. Let's see how it is reacting to list and the tuple. So we have a list where we have these character, and we have a tuple. Also, we have the same character that we are putting in. So if we'll do slice 3, so what is the meaning of slice 3 here? It will go from 0, and it will end at 2 with one iteration at a time. And if we are printing, it is going to print p by t, which is of the list. So if you want to print the list, you have to do that. If you want to print tuple, you have to do that. So whatever object you want to put, you have to put those objects here. So this is my list object and this is my tuple object. That's why it is printing the list and it is printing the tuple. The same thing, we using some other iteration which you know, which is starting from the beginning. Sorry, starting from the end. So it is starting from the end and it is going up to 3 characters. So it will go up to this. Here it is starting from the beginning and it will go up to the 4th character, but iterate 2. Okay, let's see some more functions related to string concatenation and integer concatenation. So Python supports string concatenation using plus operator, that we all know, that it can do the concatenation of 2 strings using plus symbol or plus operator. In most of the programming language, if we concentrate a string with an integer or other primitive data type, the language takes care of converting them to a string and then concatenate it. However, in Python, if you try to concatenate a string and integer using plus operator, you will get runtime error. So about that, we have seen in the quiz also, right? So we try to add some string and the integers. So the question was whether we are getting the output we are getting. So let's see this example. If we have 2 string, so concatenation will work. There is no problem in the concatenation to work. Okay, so it is going to work. But if we have a string and if we have a integer, so it will give you the error, right? Can only concatenate a string, not int to a string. Now in these type of cases, what we have to do? So we have to use a function which is called str function. Str function will convert explicitly the data type of the object. So here, if we are using the str function and we are putting the object, that object, whatever the object it is going to convert into string. Now in this case, it is going to work. If you want to concatenate s with y, which we are doing here and we are getting the error. So the same thing if we are doing here with the help of str function, so it is going to work here, right? So this function we have to use if we want to concatenate 2 different data types. So whatever the objects are, despite of that, it will convert into integer. It will convert into a string, and then concatenation will take place. Or we can use some operators like percentage operator, and we'll convert and we'll say the symbol s. So this particular is going to work. So let's say we are using, if we are explicitly saying that we want to use to a string and then this percentage symbol and s and y. So in that way, it is going to print s and y by converting the y to the string. Now again, we have a format function in which also we can, what we can do is we can concatenate these two. So how it is concatenating, we know the format function. So for that, we have to use the curly braces, and then we have to use whatever data type we want to use. It will just concatenate. So if the data type is integer or a string or anything, it is just going to concatenate and print it. Now here, this and this is not going to convert the data type of any object. So the object data type will be the same. Here, let's see whether it is explicitly converting or it is just making a temporary conversion of y. So it is making a temporary conversion of y to a string, and the basic data type is not going to change. Here also the basic data type is not going to change. Useful for removing the space from the string. So there are various ways to remove space from the string in Python. This tutorial is aimed to provide a short example of various functions we can use to remove white space from a string. Python string is immutable, so we cannot change its value by functions that manipulate a string value, return a new string, and have explicitly assigned to the string. Otherwise, the string value won't change. Now, what it is saying that if we have a string with the wide space, let's say we are writing triple IT and then space BBSR, and we want to remove the space. So in the actual string, it is not going to do that. But if you want to print triple IT BBSR together without the space, that you can do by creating another string. Let's see with the help of example. Okay, we have different functions to remove actually the wide spaces. Now let's see this example. In this example, it is saying that hello world from Pankaj, hi there. Okay, now we have different wide spaces, right? Here we have some spaces. Here we should have one space, but there are two spaces. Here also we have one space, but we have two spaces. Here we have only one space. Here we have a space and the tab has been used, so it will be three space. Then slash n, it will go to the next line, and then recursively it will go to the, and then we have again tab, and then there is no space here. Then there is a space here. So this string has different types of white spaces as well as new line character. Let's have a look at different functions to remove these spaces and what are the limit of those functions. Okay, how much they can remove it and how much they cannot remove. So let's go to the first function to do that. First function is strip function. Python strip function will remove leading and trailing wide spaces. Means whatever the wide spaces in the is in the beginning, and whatever the wide spaces is in the last, that is going to work on that only. So let's see, if we are using s.strip, then it is going to remove. See how it is removing it. But as I told you, actual string is not going to be mutated because it is, a string is immutable. We cannot mutate it. Instead, we'll create another string. So this particular statement is creating another string without any wide space in the beginning and without any wide space at the end. So I think it is clear to all of you, the strip. Now let's go to the replace function. Replace is going to replace whatever you give, right? So let's say we can use replace to remove all the wide spaces from the string. This function will remove wide spaces between words too. Now here the strip is not working in between the words. It is just working which are the spaces in the beginning and what are the spaces at the end. Let's go to the replace and try to understand. Replace will do beyond only removing the white spaces. It can replace the characters, it can replace the string also. That functionality we will see later on. But this functionality for replace is to replace the white space. Let's say if we'll write s dot replace, and whatever the wild spaces if we'll find, if we'll replace it with no space, so how it will be look like. So you can see that beginning also we have some space that has been removed. In between the words also we have some spaces which has been removed, and the end also we have some spaces which has been removed. So here all the spaces has been removed. And because this particular function is working inside the string, so it is changing the string also, because this is not the function, this is the object. An object work, sorry, this is the methods, and the methods work with the object, right? So the object and dot operator is going to actually work on the object itself. Now here it is removed all those spaces in the string. Let's try to understand that how we can actually remove those spaces with or. So if we have s and without spaces, then okay, wait a minute here. So join and split with split is again a function that has been used here. So replace is there and strip is there. Then we have a split. A split is another function. If you want to get rid of all the duplicate white spaces and new line character, you can use join function with a string split function. Okay, so first we have to join it and then we have to split it. So for that, we use a space, then dot, join. This is a syntax for that, and the object that we want to use, and split. So we have the object s, which is without the space here, and what we want to do is, let's see whether it is working or not, or we have to use so we have to use this function, this s, and then we can run it. Now here it is going to work. So whatever the space is, first it is going to split all the characters with the space and other characters, and then it will join with the space. So, and this particular s is this s. Okay, so let me write it here again. So this is s actually. What it is doing? It is doing two things. First, it is splitting. Split is going to split, or it is going to remove word at a time. So one word or one set of string at a time without word space. So what it is taking hello, then it is taking word, then it's taking from, then it is taking Pankaj, then it is taking hi, and then it's taking there. After that, it is joining. How it is joining all those string together with a space. Okay, with a space it is joining. Let's say instead of a space, if you want to join with a hash, let's see whether it is working or not. So see what we are doing, we are joining it with the hash. So in between in between these words, what we want to put, we want to put hash there. Or if you want to put double hash, you can do that, right? Or we want to make it readable, So we have to give one white space and then run. So I think it is clear to all of you. Here we are using the combination of two functions. One function is working on the object itself. Split is going to split word by word. It is just ignoring the wide spaces. And then we are joining together all those words with the help of wide space, one wide space. Okay. Let's see if you want to find out the functionality of this s dot split. So see how this split is going to work. This split is splitting word by word and putting into the list. So this is the output of a split. And what join will do is, join will take one word at a time and it will join with the help of a white space. So I think it is clear to all of you how this split and how this join is going to work. Let's see after splitting what are the status of S. So S will be the same. There is no difference in the whatever the string is. There is no difference in the string, actual string, but we can remove and we can put it into some other string that we can do. Okay, let's see another example. There is hello world with a space. So what a split will is going to do is take word by word and make the list out of those words. What join will do? Join will join all those lists and whatever we want to give the join criteria is working on that. Okay. So the join and split is very good combination that we'll use for the pre-processing of data in the data science. So in the data science, what we do is we collect the data, we process it, and we'll get some meaningful information. So when we are collecting the data, uh, those data are raw data or very dirty data. So like this particular data. So we have to make it a readable data. So for that, we'll use some sort of functions. Those functions, this is a glimpse of that function that we'll use for pre-processing of data to clean those data. So that process is called data cleaning. Okay. So first is the collection of data, then the data cleaning, then the processing will be done on the data, and then we'll get some visualization tool to visualize the data. So this is how your data science take place, or what you can say that data uh, mining or data processing will take place. Okay, let's go to other function which is called translate function. What translate function will do? If you want to get rid of all white spaces as well as new line character, you can use a string translate function. Now, let's say we have a string s that is there previously, and we want to use translate. So for that, we have to import that translate function from the string class. So we are importing a string, and from the string, we can use that translate. Translate function is working on this. This is the syntax of translate function. It is written ordc none from C in string dot white space. Now this particular translate function will do none from C, and C is moving from that particular string, and It is just removing the white character, is just taking the white characters and keeping it none. None means there is nothing, means it is not going to replace with any other thing. So that a string it is taking, and the string is taking, and if it is finding the white space in the string, it is just making it none and giving it as output here. In the translate, we generally do not use. What we use is this. This is a very powerful combination of the two functions, which is join and the split. Let's go and see how we'll remove the white spaces from the string using regex. What is that regex is? So for that, we have to import regex with re. We can also use a regex expression to match white space and remove them using re dot subfunction. So you can see that re is nothing but the class from where we are getting the functions. Now let's see, this is my string. This is the same string that we are using previously. Now let's see how this regex related to this particular class, and there are different functions associated with the class, is how it's going to work. So we have just taken the object re of the regex and use the sub function, and in the sub function we have different syntax. Like the first syntax is r and then /s plus, so whatever the white character r is replacing it, and from the string s. And what is the step? The step is without any spaces. Now again regex is there. We have different functions, different syntax of the sub function. So here we are using a cap operator, then /s plus, /s plus, and the dollar. So let's see one by one. So /s matches all wide spaces. Then this cap character matches start. This dollar matches the end. Now let's go here. It is taking the start. It is taking all the character, and then we are making it or. Then we are making up to end. So this is going to give you this or condition. Whenever we are getting the wide spaces from the start or from the end, it is going to remove it. So let's go to one by one. So first it is saying that remove all spaces using regex. Here what it is doing is removing the spaces from this particular syntax. Here it is using only /s plus. So all the white spaces has been removed. Second, what it is doing is it is matching with the start. So it is going to match with the start of any wide spaces. So here the start wide spaces has been removed, if you can see. And here the wide spaces is not removed. Here we have the wide spaces. Here also in between we have the wide spaces. Here also we have some wide spaces. Now the third one is matches at the end. So let's say what it is doing is, so it is not removing the white spaces at the beginning. So beginning white spaces are there, but it is removing the white spaces which are there in the end. So here we have the white spaces and here we doesn't have the white spaces. Now if we'll mix together, so what we have is We doesn't have the white space at the beginning. We doesn't have the white space at the end, but we have the spaces in between. So in between spaces, it is not removed. Which one? The last one. So even though we have different ways in the regex to remove the white spaces, it is also very useful tool in data science. The regex where we is using sub function, and but it is not going to fulfill our requirement. What is our requirement? Our requirement to print like this, right? It is removing the white spaces, but we don't want to remove all the white spaces. Otherwise, it is, we cannot read it, right? We cannot read this particular uh, string. It is of useless string. How you'll find out the meaningful information? So these are the things. Okay. So those are about related to other different wide spaces that has been removed. Let's go to the different other functions related to that. We have iterate method or iterate function. Iter function is used to convert an iteratable to iterator. It's this represent another way to iterate the container, that is access its element. Iter methods uses next function for accessing values. Let's see the syntax. What is the syntax of iteration? Iterate methods. That is iter, whatever the object that we want to iterate, and the sentinel. So what is that? The object is object which has to be converted to iteratable using an iterator dot, and this sentinel is the value used to represent end of sequence. So what is the add on sequence that we have to put, and what it is going to return? It is going to return the iterator object. Let's see with the help of example. We have a list, let's say list 1. We have the value in the list 1, 1 to 5. And what we are doing is this particular list 1, we are converting into string. What it is doing is this list type, and the data type is list. Okay. Convert list using iterator. So what we are doing is we are putting the iterator and the object. What is the object? Is list 1, and we are converting it, and we are just, because it is giving us the iterator object, so we are storing it into the object again, and again it is giving us the output of the type. And what is that? Is list iterator. Now the list has changed to list iterator. And once it has been changed to list iterator or the iteratable object, we can use the next function for printing the value inside the iteratable object. So next is when we use list 1, it is printing the value. Then again next it is printing the next value. Then again next it is printing the next value. And that way it is going to print. So what is the functionality of this ITER object? This ITER object will change the object to iteratable object, by which it can use the function next to iterate. So it will just make you can see it is just adding a pointer here, and this pointer will work with the next function, and this pointer will point to each and every values in the in the iteratable object one by one. So we are, see, up to this it is printing 1 to 5, and again it will use to go to the next one. So what is the error it is giving is stop iteration, most recent call, that is printing, and then the stop iteration. What it is saying that your iteration is stopped, means your iteration list has only the limit of iteration up to its value. So whatever the value it has the limit to iterate. Beyond that, uh, we doesn't have the permission to iterate. Okay, so that is the iterator. Let's see some of the property of it. Iterator object, remember iterator count via internal count variable. So as I told you, we have some sort of pointers which is pointing to that. Once the iterator is complete, it raises a stop iterator exception, and iteration count cannot be reassigned to 0. And therefore, it can be used to traverse the container just once. Now here, it is not like if we are iterating, it will go and go to the beginning again, if it is in the end, because it cannot reassign it. So reassigning cannot be possible. Therefore, it can be used to traverse the container just once. Here in this case, the iteration will be, we have used the for loop also for that. And this next is going to just iterate it up to that value. And if we try to iterate the second time, it is going to give the error, the same error that we are getting here. So iteration has been stopped because it cannot reset its value from up to and to the beginning. So iterate function is going to convert any object into the iteratable object, and this iteratable object can use the next function to iterate and go step by step to traverse that particular object and to get the value. So these are all different type of built-in function that is used in the Python.